Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout. My name is Joe and today I'm joined by Fantasy Football Scout Deputy Editor Tom Freeman, who will be revealing his Gameweek 35 team. He's still got his triple captaincy to play. We look at his options for using it, plus we look back at an eventful free hit 34 for both of us and his plans for the week ahead. Welcome Tom, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Joe. Yeah, how are you? You okay?
Yeah, good. So we're both on green arrows, which is nice.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
we've got no one left. Both got in the 100 club this week, and but that could be dented a bit if some of the players we
Yeah.
don't own in Brentford and Nottingham Forest, who play on Thursday, do well. But we're looking ahead really for this one, Game Week 35. But we'll have a catch up to see how you did. Before we do that, just a reminder: do press that like button, does help us out, and do remember to subscribe, keep update with all our latest videos and podcasts, and check out membership offers at fantasyfootballscout.co.uk, where anything we talk about here, sort of season difficulty, fixture difficulties. And any sort of stats that's from that area there. So let's have a look, see how you did during the week. 104 points, and considering the average is 38, that's huge. Free hit played, so no transfers made. Do you want to take us through your team? Because probably like me, or possibly like me, pretty much every player that I could possibly own, I had in my team at some point, and it just whatever happened at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning, that's what I ended up with. But yeah, so let's take us through your team.
Yeah, so I'll run through the team first. So I had Allison in goal, who was the only player who didn't return. He just got two after Solanke scored that header. Really good back line. Seen it in a lot of teams this week. Trippier 15, 8 Nore 11, and Sessegnon with 11. Salah captain got 16. Murphy 6, Bowen 9, and Luis Diaz with 7. And then Strand Larsen 6, Isak with 6, and Cunha with that big 15-point haul. On the bench, doesn't really matter, but I had Kepa, Palmer, Robinson, and Cucurella.
Okay.
So I think the main changes from the video last week, I took out Munetsi, who was that kind of Wolves midfield punt, and went for Strand Larsen, who I kind of warmed through to a little bit more throughout the week. And then that freed up the spot in midfield for me to be able to go for Bowen, who got a couple of assists at Brighton.
Yeah.
So that all worked well. I was actually close to going for Robert Sanchez in goal instead of Allison. That was kind of one decision I was looking at on Saturday morning, and I didn't go for that. But I can't complain too much with this team. It's been a big rank rise, and we've obviously, like you said earlier, we've got Umbomo and Wood to go.
Yeah.
But if they can keep quiet, I mean, it'll be a brilliant week. So
yeah, I mean, I think it will. Even if they do really well, our ranks will be dented, but it will still be a green arrow, just depending on the size of it. Yeah, I mean, similar. I mean, my decision. I had the same defence as you, but I got Sarr in because I decided not against Strand Larsen, so that helped me a bit. Bowen was in my team at some point, but not by the end. In the end, I went for Welbeck, and I did put Palmer in, but I thought Brian Mbomo was the one. It was between Palmer and Brian Mbomo. So Brian Mbomo is first on my bench. So time will tell whether that. But I can't complain because with each of these decisions you make, you can't get them all right. If you get them all right, you've won it. You've won the game. But you get, if you can get, like you have here and I did this week, if you can get the majority of those decisions right, then it doesn't matter if if with say Allison blanked for you. Oh dear, how sad.
Yeah, I mean it's 6 points, isn't it? I think Sanchez got 8 in the grand scheme of things. It's fine. You know, the close calls that I had were like players like Bowen and Palmer. Strand Larsen or Raul Jimenez was another one to consider. So I think everything, and even Trippier and Livramento. I think Livramento was in the bus team or the early free hit draft anyway last week. So that's obviously a pretty significant swing. So in the majority of them, I fell on the right side.
Definitely, and it was a good week for a free hit in that you had 3 teams who were very attacking against 3, well, no longer promoted sides, relegated sides.
Yeah.
And that was quite rare. So this week, for example, we haven't got that. 2 relegated sides play each other, and Everton play the other one. So it's not like, oh wow, I must invest in those because you can't really. So it was a good week for you, and I think that's a lesson really for free hitting in a single, in a blank game week, but also a sort of a single game week without the doubles. that you can do well if you've got those fixtures in place, because even if you'd have gone for the other players here that you were perhaps thinking of, perhaps Livramento, perhaps Sanchez, perhaps Cucurella might have come into your side instead of being on the bench, you still would have got a
Yeah,
good score because they all did well.
yeah, yeah. I
If you've
mean,
got
I
Gakpo,
guess.
even he did well.
Yeah, yeah, he did well. I mean, I'm not sure next year if I'd be surprised if the promoted sides are quite as bad as
They
this
not
year
won't
because
be.
it's been an
It won't
all-team
be.
low. You look at Leeds and you look at Burnley and maybe Sheffield United joining them on the playoffs.
Or,
But
or or Bristol City maybe. I'm not sure if they can.
yeah, yeah, and
Fingers
Coventry, who are
crossed.
local to me, are still in the mix with
Mm.
it as well. But yeah, but no, certainly, yeah. I mean, I can remember game week 29 free hit last year, which was an absolute disaster. I
Oh
mean,
God.
admittedly, I think we only had four fixtures then, didn't we?
Yeah.
So it was very different. But
Yeah.
this year, just everything
Well,
aligned.
well. Yeah, also last year Spurs, had promise, but this year
Yeah.
no one's going near Spurs. So
No, no, you could see them easily shipping four or five, and
yeah,
that's exactly what happened,
yeah,
isn't it? And hence we all got Luis Diaz in
yeah, yeah,
to complement Salah.
yeah,
But yeah, yeah, some of the fixtures now they do seem quite easy to read, especially with all this rotation going on with Europe, with
yeah.
Spurs and Man United prioritising, which will probably influence my transfers this week as well.
Okay.
So
So we'll look at your team in a bit and what potential transfers you make. But you've got the triple captaincy still to go,
yeah,
which I
yeah,
think is not too bad. Even though there might be some double game weeks, there might be none. In which case,
exactly.
it could be quite good for perhaps game week 38, maybe. I don't know, but let's have a look. Let's have
Yeah.
a look at the options. So, got the season ticket here. Who can we credit with this wonderful image that we've got up?
This is Lego
Oh, I
Mane, who
thought it was. I
is
recognise
well,
his
well
colour
worth a
scheme.
follow.
Yeah,
Well worth a follow. He creates these great kind of visuals,
yeah.
and with this one, it's got the potential of these fixtures moving to game week 36, these
Mm-hmm.
FA Cup final ones.
Yeah.
Plus, you'll see on there the Villa Tottenham one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think it's unlikely any of them are going to move to 36, but
I
that's
don't
just
think so.
my opinion. We'll hopefully
No.
find out by the end of the week. But it's just there so you can kind of visualize the potential of outcomes of what happened. They're also in game week 37, so these FA Cup matches could simply shift back.
Yeah.
Sorry, these fixtures due to the FA Cup final could simply shift back a few days and remain in game week 37. So,
Yeah, so the situation that we have, so I'm just getting it up on my screen here. So is that there's the possible double game weeks: Spurs against Crystal Palace and Aston Villa, Villa against Bournemouth and Spurs, obviously. The City against Southampton and Bournemouth against Aston Villa and City, Palace against Tottenham and Wolves against Brighton and Crystal Palace. There's some nice matchups there, but they might not happen. So I might as well
yeah.
say, yeah, the matchups are City against Ipswich and Southampton at home. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It doesn't matter because it's unlikely, as you said. Now Villa obviously went out in the cup. Spurs are looking to move their fixture with them on Sunday night, which is great for Villa fans, but terrible for
Yeah.
Spurs fans as it is. Move that from Sunday night to earlier in the week. That the same because of
Yeah,
European commitments, possibility of
yeah,
being in the final.
yeah, it's actually a Sunday lunchtime one. I think
Oh,
it's a
is it?
2:15
Okay.
kickoff because there's a lot of games on that day because of the FA Cup final on the
Right.
Saturday. It's like
Yeah.
a full Premier League program on the Sunday. Yeah, exactly like you say, Joe. They want to bring that forward to because they would be if they get to the Europa League final. That's on the Wednesday.
Yeah.
So ideally, they probably want to bring it forward to the Friday, which is when I think Chelsea play Man United. Bring it forward a couple of days, potentially even more than that for it to become a double. Actually, it would have to be the Wednesday or the
Yeah.
Thursday.
Yeah.
But like you said, why would Villa want to do that?
No.
Because we need to win this game. We're
Yeah.
still just about in the mix for Champions League qualification. We've had to go throughout the season of playing, when we played PSG, we played on a Saturday and then we played on a Tuesday, same kind of
Yeah.
turnaround.
Yeah.
So I would be surprised if they get the go ahead for it,
No.
but let's
No.
see.
No special treatment for you. Sorry, Spurs. I'd be
Yes.
exactly the same if it was against Brighton. Be hard luck. They should have the squad to deal with that. They haven't. So they'll
Yeah.
possibly, if they are through to the final, I bet you're hoping they are as a Villa fan, because if they do make it through to the final, the
Yeah.
team they send up to Birmingham is going to be like worse than Leicester's side. It's going to be
Yeah, I mean it's
I don't
going
know
to
who it's going to
be
be.
Yeah, I mean, we saw when they played Frankfurt, and I think it was they played Wolves in the middle of
Mm,
those Frankfurt games, and they lost 4-2 at Molineux.
mm.
And yeah, you see players like Ben
Okay.
Davies coming in. They can rotate in the attacking positions. Players like Tal can come in, but obviously it's the defence
Okay.
which you're looking at, and obviously it's going to be much weaker.
Okay. So looking at those potential doubles, if any of those happen, which at this stage is looking unlikely, and by the time you watch this, you may know that that's unlikely or that they are in place. So we're going to try and cater for all possibilities here. Um, if any of those doubles happen, who would be your captain? Now, you're a Villa fan. I put a picture of Ollie Watkins up on the screen, but don't let that influence you.
Well, it's quite an interesting one. I mean, you immediately look at City, don't you, because of that Southampton
Yeah.
fixture there, that away one. Now, you could say Mamouche, say it is a double game week though, but what kind of a team are City going to put out for the Bournemouth home match, given that the FA Cup fight, if it's brought forward, the FA Cup final will be a few days after that.
Yeah.
That Bournemouth game you've been looking at as a Kevin De Bruyne last home game, but is he going to start that game if the FA Cup final is a few days later, or is he going to be a sub and get his standing
Yeah.
ovation? In some ways, the double would kind of overcomplicate it, I think. I think as a standalone game week, I think Man City going to Southampton
Yeah.
and putting a triple captain on Mamouche,
Yeah.
providing Haaland isn't kind of back on the scene, because we think he is back in training, but obviously it's going to take a while for him to get back up to speed. So Mamouche would obviously carry appeal in that, but if it is a double game week, it would be tricky to then work out the minutes and if it's worth it. Um, I actually like Ollie Watkins, Joe, even if it's a single game week for Villa in 37,
Yeah.
if that Spurs fixture
Yeah.
stays where it is and they make it
Yeah.
to the Europa final. Because obviously Rashford is out for the
Yeah.
season now, or we think he is,
Yeah.
and with this hamstring injury. So Watkins's minutes are suddenly much, much more secure. He's going to start all the games. And maybe if I am faced with that situation where there isn't going to be any doubles, maybe Ollie Watkins in game week 37 could be that kind of punt that I go for.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, I think it's almost like a perfect storm in the fixtures aligning, the lack of rotation for Villa now that Rashford's not out of the picture, and the prospect of huge rotation for Tottenham.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean that's what I would seriously consider that. The other one I would consider was be Cunha at home to
I had him on my
Brighton
list.
and away
Yeah,
away to a Crystal Palace side ahead of their FA Cup final.
exactly. Exactly.
And what
Yeah.
sort of side are they going to be putting out?
Yeah. Yeah.
So Cunha, it really would be a tight call. If I own both of those, it would be Cunha v Watkins, I think, personally.
Yeah. I think, it feels like Cunha's playing for a move at the moment, doesn't it? He's
Yeah,
great for bonus.
yeah,
I think really, really good. So, yeah, I think Watkins, regardless of the double, would still appeal to me. If Wolves get the double,
yeah.
Cunha would be
Okay,
would be right up there, definitely.
okay. So let's look at the other scenario. There are no doubles. Because obviously, what if there's one double and you've got a player from that, you're probably going to go for that for a triple captaincy, unless it's absolutely appalling double
Yeah.
and the threat of rotation there. But let's assume there aren't any. So looking at the fixtures now, what appeals to you if you're going to have to use it in a single game week?
Well, obviously that Watkins, which I just said in 37. If it wasn't going to be that, and we're hopefully gonna find out before the Friday deadline, I would potentially be looking at Mbomo either against United this week,
Oh,
or Ipswich the week after. I think
okay.
both of those fixtures in isolation are
Yeah.
really, really nice. And I wouldn't even write off using it with Jared Bowen this weekend against
Yeah.
Spurs.
Yeah.
Because
I like
again,
that.
they're going to rotate, aren't
Yeah.
they? I like Mbomo because I think he's got a few more routes to points than Bowen with penalties.
Yeah.
Bowen could take a penalty, but I think if
Yeah.
Paqueta's on the pitch, he'll probably take it. But yeah, those are the kind of ones that I would be eyeing up. So I could end up using it as early as this week potentially, depending on what happens with this announcement, which we're hoping for soon.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, other options. I think looking at, say, for example, Arsenal's fixtures as well. So say they're not in. I'm not can't remember if they get through somehow to the Champions League final, then I wouldn't be interested in that. But if not, Saka away to Southampton
Yeah,
I think could be very appealing.
definitely.
I understand at the moment. I was just thinking, what motivation on earth has Mo Salah got to do anything? Obviously, he's got the inbuilt, you know, winner in him that he's going to want to score and perform well. But
Mm.
I believe he's in the hunt for the. You've probably written about this already. The European
Yeah.
Golden Boot.
Oh, okay. I mean, the one that I was, or the one that he spoke about actually
Oh,
after the match on Sunday
oh,
was the goal involvement record. He is one
oh.
behind Alan Shearer's. Who's the
Okay,
other player? There's one other player retired. It might
Henri.
be no, I can't remember. It's Alan Shearer and one of the players. It might be
Okay,
Andy Cole. Might be Andy Cole. But
yeah.
anyway, the goal involvement record. Now, I think those were both set in 42 game seasons. I think,
Ah,
or
wow.
but anyway, he's going and he spoke about it and he says, "I need one more goal or one more assist
Yeah.
to kind of
Oh,
level that." And he would have done it in fewer games.
wow.
So that is obviously.
Okay.
In fact, he's speaking about that after you've won the
Yeah.
just won
Okay.
the title, suggests that it all kind of tells you
Okay.
what kind of player he is.
Well, yeah.
But
That's what.
The European one, that could be an additional one.
I think
So
he's in the running. I think it's Gorkez he's up against there.
okay.
So it's possible he's got that as well. But yeah, now that you've said that, I mean, I've got the armband on him against Chelsea because I just think
Yeah.
whatever the condition Liverpool in, he'll be on fire there, and he's against Robert Sanchez. Um,
Yeah, and sorry, just to go back to your Saka one as well. The
yeah,
good thing is in 38, we'll probably be aware of that lineup
yeah,
before the
yeah, yeah,
deadline, so then you can make a call on
yeah,
that. The thing is, Arsenal will have probably wrapped up
yeah,
second place by that point,
yeah.
but still do well.
I think it's just the final game, really. I mean, other ones I would look at possibly are, Jared Bowen away to Ipswich. I like the 38 fixtures there. So, Saka with Southampton and Leicester Bournemouth assets. So I'm not really interested. Nilsson will be back for that one if his ban holds up for the next three matches, but he'll be back for
Yeah.
that one. So that's another possibility there. I'm just really targeting those promoted sides. I feel Leicester seem to be the worst out of all of them. So
Yeah.
Chris Wood against them in Gameweek 36 is another option. But they all don't feel amazing for triple captaincy.
Yeah, I think we're so used to putting it on a player like Salah in a double or
Yeah,
Haaland in a double that depending on what happens, I'm probably going to have to get a bit more creative with it. But I don't hate the thought of putting it on an
no,
Umbomo or a
yeah,
Watkins in a single game week. I'm certainly not going to get 20 points from
no,
it or some as in
yeah,
triple cap. But in the player's score, I might get a Watkins goal and an assist or a Umbomo brace or
yeah,
something. But that's probably the best I can hope for. I
yeah.
think at this stage of the season. And
Okay.
had I had this information now, yeah, I probably would have put it on Haaland earlier in the season,
Well,
but we
I,
didn't
I,
know
I
that.
did, but I
So.
didn't get much from him. I've got 6 points, 8 points, something like that
mm.
extra.
I was
I
thinking about that hat trick in the early
Yeah,
part of
yeah.
the
I mean, obviously,
season.
that would be the best.
Yeah.
So was I, as I captained him
Yeah.
against Southampton. I was thinking about that hat trick.
Mm.
But yeah, so I think the lesson I've learned really is I will save triple captaincy for a double game week, and use it in like a small double game week. Just use it.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I think those that used it, I used the assistant manager chip around I can't remember now, 29 ish, and it did well. But those that also used the triple captain on Salah and the assistant manager chip a bit after that also did really well.
Yeah, I think it was using the triple captain on Salah and then going to the assistant manager the week after that,
Probably the
wasn't it?
perfect,
And
yeah,
that looking back
yeah.
was the optimal kind of way of doing
And,
it.
and also looking back on the assistant manager chip, you used it around then as well, I believe.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
used it on David Moyes
yeah.
and then
Emery.
Emery
Yeah,
had
I,
it.
I
Yeah,
was the same. Moyes, Emery. No, Moyes, Emery.
that's
44
right.
points.
Yeah,
I'll remember
yeah.
that because it was, the first time using the assistant manager chip.
Hopefully the last time we ever have
Yeah,
to use the
and
assistant manager chip as well. But let's
so
see.
just before we leave the fixtures, those using the assist have still got the assistant manager chip left. I know lots of people haven't used it on because it's just too complicated over 3 weeks. So I hope next year, please, fancy Premier League, please, if you're going to keep the chip, get rid of this 3 weeks thing. It's an absolute pain.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I think a lot of people were eyeing up Wolves, but they've done so well. There's no bonus anymore because they're now
Yeah. What,
significantly higher,
6 in a row, isn't it? I think
or
they've won. So,
within the placings of many of those teams. I personally like Brighton because I'm a fan, but because Brighton are very good against better teams that you think they're going to lose against, and they will lose
okay.
or draw against the likes of Leicester. That's them.
Yeah.
So I look at a Liverpool in 37 with not much to play for and think that's a home game they could win, and that would be a really nice bonus. Away to Tottenham, that is a away game they could win. Wolves, I don't know, could be a draw, that one.
Mhm. That's not a bad shout.
But
Yeah.
I think he's quite good as well. Some of those, also you're not looking at some of those other teams as well, like with good fixtures. I guess Thomas Frank, but I don't think there's any bonus
Well,
there.
that was who I thought that who
Yeah,
I was going to say. You would expect them to beat Man United
yeah,
and Ipswich and Fulham. Um, well, not necessarily Fulham. That's probably the closest one to
yeah.
call. But certainly expect them
There's
to
no
beat United and
bonus.
Ipswich, but no table bonus.
Yeah,
Obviously there. So it depends how you want to play it, doesn't it?
yeah. I think by this stage you've got to go for that.
Mm,
Got to go for broke
yeah,
because also at this stage you don't know what, like with Arsenal for example or Man City, they've got other cup commitments, so
yeah,
they could easily lose.
yeah.
Depending on the team they put out. But yeah,
Yeah, I think you're right, Joe. I think that's what I would do if I did have
okay,
it now, would be looking for that,
yeah,
hoping that some teams are on the beach a bit early and just plotting it out and
yeah.
going for the table bonus games.
Okay, let's have a look at next week before we wrap up. So, do you want to just run us quickly through your team, who you're captaining, and any potential transfer moves?
Yeah, so I've got Raya in goal at home to Bournemouth and also Saliba at home against Bournemouth. Then I've got the two City defenders, Diaz and Guardiola at home to Wolves. Got Saka at home to Bournemouth, Sarr and Eza at home to Forest, and Asensio at home to Fulham. And then Isak away at Brighton, Mateta at home against Forest, and Mamouche home against Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
And then Verbruggen, Trippier, Cucurella, and an injured Rashford on the
Okay.
bench. So there are a few concerns this week.
Mm-hmm.
Saka probably not going to play
Yeah.
because of the timing of it with PSG beside. I think the obvious move. I've got one free transfer. I've got loads of money. I've got 4.1 million in the bank because I sold Palmer a while ago. I think the obvious move for me is really simple: Rashford to Mbomo and then bench Saka. So
Yeah. Yeah.
and potentially give Mbomo the armband as well, which I'm thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
Another move I could do is Saka to Bowen for a -4,
Mm-hmm.
which means I could bench Asensio if I'm not confident of his minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's kind of that's pretty much it for me, I think, this week. I
Yeah.
think the Mbomo transfer, I don't always like doing the obvious move, but I think this week it's just
Yeah.
impossible to look past that, really.
Yeah. I mean, I'm similar. I've got Anthony Gordon, who is a
Oh,
minutes
okay.
risk anyway.
Yeah.
So I've got the money to move him to Brian and Bomo or Bowen, but I think I prefer
Yeah.
Bomo at the
Yeah.
moment, just for the season running, just in case I don't make any other move along that way. Brian and Bomo
Hmm.
in, and I'd bench either Saka or Sarr,
Yes.
and so they're one of them will be a good first sub. And I don't know with Saka. I still sometimes think that if he'll come on, I think he'll get minutes because I think he needs the minutes at the moment,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
not perhaps not to start. And if he comes on the last 30 minutes, I have to weigh up: would I prefer 30 minutes of Saka or Sar's been in good form in cup games,
Yeah. Don't tell me about
but
that.
he's absolutely,
Uh,
he's like a maybe.
He's an all or nothing. Yeah, he's very kind of like sketchy, isn't he? He'll get you a double-digit haul and then he won't do anything for a.
Yeah,
I mean, if you look at his returns, they're very spaced
yeah,
out. I mean, he was excellent against us on
yeah,
Saturday. I don't mind that fixture for Palace at home against Forest. Triple attack seems a bit OTT, but that's the position I'm in because of
yeah,
the double game weeks.
yeah. I
So,
mean, I'm going into that with. Yeah, with a Nottingham Forest and a Crystal Palace defence and and
okay.
Mateta and Sar. So that's
Yeah,
why I don't want to like focus too much on that game. I think
Yeah,
But yeah, Saka I think is going to be key. I might end up benching and do what you do as well, because I think that
yeah,
has actually paid off for a lot of people. If you've got a better sub, and of course a better player coming in. Of course, in your case, it would be Brian Bomo.
yeah, yeah.
Very good, excellent. Well, good luck with the game week. We'll be back again next week. Good luck everyone watching and listening. Good luck with your decisions. Good luck with the rest of the season. But we'll be back next week to look ahead to game week 36, which may or may not be a double, but hopefully we've
Yeah.
catered for all eventualities here. Take care. See you soon.
Thanks, Joe.